What's up, everyone? Welcome in to the SSFFL podcast. I'm your host, Chuck. Thank you guys for joining me once again. You know, this is becoming an everyday or every week event. It's something that I started a couple weeks ago, and I've been continuing it ever since, and I love it. This is the SSFFL podcast, and I actually have two guests today. One of the guests was already on the show before, and his name is Joe. We call him O, Joe, and S. And he's coming on again, and we have another Joe as well joining us today. And I like to call him Joe Camera Guy because he is a good camera guy installer. So we're having him on as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and I am going to submit both of them at the same time so that we can get this show started. All right. Middle. Here we go. How's it going, everyone?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us again today, Joe.
Okay.
So, Joseph, you there? Joe W.
What's going on, bud?
Okay. The first thing we're going to talk about today, guys, is the big game. And I know from talking to you both briefly, none of you appeared that you watched this game. So this is going to be pretty interesting to talk about.
Absolutely not.
And why is that?
Because we know the NFL is rigged.
Explain.
I don't know.
Tom Brady gets whatever he wants.
I mean, 10 appearances in 20 years, I guess, you know, I wouldn't say it's rigged. I just believe that Tom Brady is the GOAT. For the longest time, when he's on the Patriots, I did not like the guy, but it's only because he won so much. But now I really do truly
like the guy.
No, I really truly respect him now that he switched teams and he was able to win with a different team. It's sort of like
no,
I mean, I don't know about that.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I don't know how I feel about that because he went to a Tampa Bay team that was stacked with weapons. They have two young, good running backs. They had two wide receivers that were really good. And then he brought his friends over with Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski.
See?
Okay, so let me ask you this. This is a different sport entirely, but is that the same reason why people hate LeBron? Because wherever he goes, he gets whatever he wants as well? Is that not the same situation? There's people out there that love LeBron, and he does the same exact thing.
I think people hate LeBron because he's been put front and center, because the media is all over covering everything that he says. And people are always going to compare him to older greats like Jordan. They're going to talk about how the game has changed. A guy like LeBron, he's 6'8". It looks like he's 250 with muscle. He should be able to power through guys. But because of the way that the league is played now, he's going to get, fouls when somebody taps his arm. And it's like, hey, back in the old ball, you should have just fought through that. And you have the body to fight through it. So I don't think he gets a fair shake.
I remember when Derrick Rose was playing, he would never get the calls. He would body people up, go inside the paint, get hit like 2-3 times, make the shot, and never get called for a foul. So I don't understand why. I don't understand why. Well, that's why he put himself in that situation with all the injuries. But whatever. Back to the NFL here. So I mean, we're getting off topic with these whole LeBron, Derrick Rose discussions. But the only thing I really wanted to make these 2 points of the Super Bowl was that the first one was there was 29 defensive pressures, and that was the most. That was a lot of pressures for a guy like Mahomes that was basically dealing with like turf toe, and now he's getting some type of surgery after the fact that he was running around all that time. I thought that was pretty amazing. I really did think that the Bucs defense played really well. They were the difference makers in that game. And even though the second half really, there wasn't a lot of scoring during that second half, I thought it was a pretty good, pretty enjoyable game. The other one that I wanted to make, the other point was, Brady actually has more titles than any franchise now. So, how is he not the GOAT? I mean, more titles than any franchise out there. Just say that, 10 times. It's amazing.
No, I do not want to say that. I do not want to say that.
Brady's a good player. He
He's
has
a good
good
player.
teammates. He makes good plays.
Well, you could actually argue, yeah, you're right. I agree with that, but you could actually argue that, he had less in New England. I mean, he had Gronkowski, okay. He had Edelman was the Super Bowl MVP that year against the Rams, but who other than those two guys, who did he actually have? He had guys like James White, Sony Michel, LeGarrette Blount, dudes that just came in and just kind of ran the ball with power. I don't know. I mean, he has more now around him than he's ever had in his career, is what I think.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Do you
maybe
remember 2007?
ever.
Go ahead,
Do you
Joe.
remember
Joe,
2007, his roster?
in 2007, I don't think I remember something that far back. No.
He had Randy Moss, and I think Randy Moss had 1,800 receiving yards and 20 touchdowns.
Okay.
He also had
Randy-
a guy called Donnie Stallsworth.
Yes,
They had a very stacked team that year. That might be his best offensive season ever. I believe he had set the then current record for NFL touchdowns by a quarterback in one season. I think that year he might have had the best cast around him. And before that and after that, he's never had anything close to it.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Over the years, he hasn't really had anybody around him, and he's still been able to win more than a few Super Bowls in that time frame. So, but Joe S, you can say all you want about how much you don't like Brady and how much the NFL's rigged and all that, but he's the GOAT, man. He's the best. He's probably the best, not only the best quarterback that's ever
Michigan
played.
Wolverine.
Yeah, he's a Michigan Wolverine.
He's a Michigan Wolverine.
Oh my God.
He is a Michigan
Ohio
Wolverine.
State Buckeye, boy.
Wait, are you an Ohio State fan, Joe?
Yes, I am.
That's so weird.
Very
You're from
much so.
Illinois.
Well, this guy's a
Buckeye
Dallas
pride.
Cowboys fan. He's a St. Louis Cardinals
Yeah, right.
fan.
I'm a Dallas
So,
Cowboys fan.
he really doesn't
Whoa.
keep in that Chicago, area or whatever you want to call it. Chicago
I mean, it's
residency.
weird because
That's just me. That's just me.
I don't really stay in the region either. I mean,
I don't either.
like my favorite college football team is the Miami Hurricanes.
Mhm.
I thought you were going to say Alabama.
They just had so much talent in the early 2000s, but
I thought you would say Alabama. Webb.
no, Bama.
Alabama. I don't really
Still
I don't really-
that long.
I don't really have a favorite college football team. I just kind of like to see, the playoffs happen and then the BCS championship, because I know that most of the guys that get drafted high in the NFL draft are always the guys that are in those bowl games and whatnot. But
That they were.
but that's basically all I really wanted to talk about when it comes to the Super Bowl. But Joe Webb, tell me why you boycotted the Super Bowl, or did you just forget to watch it?
To be honest, I don't really care for the NFL. It's changed beyond my liking.
Mhm.
It happened right around the mid 2000s. Rule change, player safety, questionable officiating.
Mhm.
It no longer interests me.
Okay.
That
So
and
let's-
it probably coincided with the rise of the Blackhawks as a franchise, so
Okay.
it just gave me another choice to see games.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sure.
Understand. So yeah, that's totally understandable. So going into that, going in further to that, you said about the rules changes and all that. So we do have like a topic here that we wanted to talk about, the rules changes over the years, and then also like what was football like, back then, maybe when we were young compared to like what it is now. So, I mean, you played football, correct, when you were young?
Yeah, I did.
So what's different about it now than it was back when you played?
I mean, we were taught to lead with our helmet and keep our head up.
Okay.
Now you're taught to avoid helmet to helmet contact. It was always assumed that the defense would win you the game and that the offense would have to fight through and break through the defense in order to get you those
Interesting.
points, in order to
That's
just inch you by. It
Mhm.
was always the thought that a strong running game and good defense will win you a championship. If you have more than that, then you can become a franchise like Brady and the Patriots.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
it
that's very
seems like they threw defense to the side, and with all the developments in player safety, it was mostly geared towards protecting offensive players. There's not much being done for defensive players, as well as the refs just consistently throwing out flags repeatedly on defensive infractions.
yeah.
Yeah, even when they're not so much,
I mean, like, I think Joe's trying to say warranted, like they're
correct.
questionable. I can't determine what a foul is. I used to be able to say, oh yeah, that's clear as day. I think a lot of
Mhm.
people used to be able to just look at a replay and say, clear as day, that's a penalty. Now it seems like half of us are divided based off of what has been called and what we
Yeah.
believe should be called. And we don't know until the ref comes out and makes up his mind.
That is true.
Yeah, it's like
So,
you don't
like,
even know what a pass interference is.
yeah. So yeah, I know what you mean exactly. So going back to like, going on the topic of that, continuing that, with the rules changes. So like in 1986, they actually adapted that instant replay. So are you a fan of I mean, I know you don't watch football, you said, like, anymore that much because of the rules changes and all that, but I mean, are you like okay with that instant replay thing, or do you just believe that that kind of slows the game down and it shouldn't be there? And I just want to get your perspective on that. You guys could both go, but Joe W first, and then Joe
Okay.
S after.
I like instant replay. I like being able to get the call right. What I don't like is they limit you to, what is it, 3 opportunities. If you get the first 2 right, then you can get a third. I think there's more than 3 questionable calls in a game. The speed, I mean, I think that somebody should always be on instant replay. They have billions of dollars in revenue to hire 5 or 10 qualified guys just to sit there and watch a football game. Would be one of the coolest jobs in the world. I think they can speed it up. I think that it should be about a minute delay, which is really no more than play clock and a half.
Okay. All right, Joe S, how you feel about that?
Well, about instant replay, I mean, I could still go back to about the 2014 catch no catch game. I mean, as much as you don't want to say it was a catch, he had his arms under it.
So
I don't know what more you need to do to get the officiating right.
So to your point, you're basically saying that they don't always get it right, pretty much, right?
Even when they replay it, yes. I don't think they always get it right either, you know?
Yeah, I think that was one of the major issues with that offensive, or I think it was defensive pass interference penalty that they tried like last year, where they would just like review it and like never overturn it. So it's like, what's the point of even like reviewing these if we're not going to overturn them? That was kind of that's been kind of the downfall for a lot of like penalties that are out there too. It's just like, what's the point of reviewing these if they're not going to be overturned? I mean,
I could go off and say you could obviously review for 12 men because it wouldn't be a valid play to begin with.
Right, exactly. Things like that too. And there are good rules that are out there that changed over the years that made the game better. Like, for instance, the 2-point conversion in '94. I mean, that was a really good rule to put up there. They had teams losing by 8 points or whatever, like late in the game. It really changed the dynamic of how the strategy changed and all that for coaching. And then whether you go for it, on whether you need two, whether you need one, like it really did change a lot of things. Do you guys like the 2-point
Absolutely.
conversion? Joe S., you want to go first on that? Do you like the 2-point conversion?
I do like the 2-point conversion.
It really changes the
I mean, from
dynamic
the
of the
coin
game.
toss
though.
on. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But Joe W., how do you feel about the 2-point conversion?
I don't know. I think it has a minimal impact on games. For the teams that need a 2-point conversion to tie up the game or something like that.
Yeah.
It's nice to have. It just gives them maybe an extra opportunity once a year or so
Mhm.
to tie up a game, to push a game forward. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it has a minimal impact on the game itself.
That's interesting. That's an interesting perspective because so far anybody that I've talked to about it really does like it. But yeah, I mean, I could see that point too. I could definitely see that. Let's see. A famous rule in 1977. We probably are all way too young to remember when this happened, but there was a rule that they actually named the Deacon Jones rule because he used to head slap the defenders to get past them to get to the quarterback. So they had to actually put
Right.
that rule in there in 1977 so that defensive players couldn't do that to the offensive line. And that's a pretty interesting one because I can't imagine them doing that now. Like how many guys would get to the quarterback so fast if they were able to do something like that.
Deacon Jones was just a big linebacker when he played for the Rams. It was just not the typical guy you wanted to let pass your offensive line.
Yeah, and it's just not like there was rules against that back then until he got past them so fast. So I don't know. It's like it almost feels like these NFL players they get some kind of like advantage on them, and then it's just like stripped away by some kind of like penalty because no, you can't do anything anymore. I almost feel like that sometimes where, like you said, Joe W., you said like watching the game sometimes is unbearable because it's like all these penalties are coming in and whatnot, or you don't even know what like a flag is anymore. So I have had those moments sometimes, but overall, like just the excitement of like the long pass and the long run and the touchdown scoring and all that stuff just really interests me. I guess for me, it's more fantasy football wise that really gets me into the game. And then when your own team isn't that good, hence the Chicago Bears, you can root for somebody else because
may I make can I make a point of what about the fumbling in the end zone when you're on offense and it automatically goes back the other way for a touchback? How do you see that?
Yeah. I mean, you lost possession. The other team recovered and they're in their
the end zone.
It's a touchback.
Yeah. So what? I mean, I feel the same way. What
about the other team not recovering when they technically didn't?
What do you mean? Like,
you mean if you fumble and your team recovers?
No, you fumble the ball and it goes out of the end zone.
Yeah, just completely.
Like completely out of the end zone. It's a touchback. It's a touchback. If it goes out of the end zone. Yeah.
You didn't have possession, and
the defense didn't have possession either.
Yeah, but you can't recover the football in the end zone, right? So let's say they mark the football where it went out of bounds in the end zone. Then technically the offense could just kneel the football in the end zone
and
where
get
the football
touchdown.
went out at and get a touchdown immediately, right?
Yeah, that would be the case. Yep. So that's why.
Unless you're saying like they're just going to pull the football back like 5 yards out of the end zone and say, hey, we're going to give it back to the offense because nobody recovered the football. but we're going to move the position of the football 5 yards back in order to make it so that the offense still has to get back into the end zone, right? Like you,
Yes,
I mean,
more or less like that. Yes, that's
yeah,
what.
I mean, I don't know about that. Like the football should be marked where the football is.
Mhm.
If it
Right,
was
but-
like you're running towards the corner of the end zone and you fumble and it goes across the line, but then bounces out and nobody recovered it. I could
should
see
go-
what your point is like the offense should still have the football. But the thing is that they would have to make some adjustment to where the ball was located to pull it back in order to give it to the offense and force them to actually get the touchdown.
Mhm.
It's a unique situation that only occurs when you're near the end zone.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah, if it's not recovered, it's based off of the last team that had the football.
I get that. Yeah.
It's just weird because, like I said, in the end zone, they would literally have to move the ball to take it back out of the end zone, even though that's not where the ball was marked at.
It's just a weird situation. That's all you could really say about that.
It is.
But
I say hold on to the football.
exactly.
Yeah,
Don't
that
fumble
gets
it to
be a
begin with.
problem.
Yeah, don't fumble it to
That gets
begin
to be a
with.
problem with some running backs. Yeah, we know that. We know that.
Most definitely. So moving on to the next subject here. So we're going to be talking about, I have a top 10 list myself for this one, but we're going to be talking about who you think are the best players that wasted a career on a non-contender. So
Ooh.
for my list here, I'm just going to read off my top 10 really quick, and then you guys could, give me maybe your top 5, or, just talk about maybe some of the guys that I have on this list. So number 1, I have
Sure.
Barry Sanders. I have number 2, I have Kelvin Johnson. So 2 back-to-back Lions. I have Adrian Peterson, number 3. All those years on the Vikings.
Okay.
And I have Dan Marino, number 4. Number 5, I got Andre Johnson from the Texans.
Yeah.
I got number 6, Tony Gonzalez, the tight end. Number 7, Julio Jones. Number 8, as of right now, I have him on this list, but that might change in the next couple of years depending on what he does. But number 8 is Matt Stafford. Number 9, I have AJ Green. And as of now, number 10, my number 10 right now where we sit is Deshaun Watson. Only because of, the situation he's been in as of late. It might change this year because he might get traded somewhere where they can actually compete. But as of right now, I feel like should be on that list. So you guys want to comment on any of these, or maybe give me like your top 5?
One of my favorite tight ends of all time, Jason Witten. I mean,
Okay.
Jason Witten was just he was a bruiser. He put all of his effort into playing tight end every game, and I don't think it paid dividends for him. And I think he deserved to win. Sure.
Right. Yeah, that's a good
That's
one.
one I can
Jason
think off
Witten.
the top of my head.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, like you
W?
said, Barry Sanders. Yes.
I don't know, man. To be honest, I have a couple people in mind, but first off, I literally just looked at a list, so I'm gonna start with the list online. These are guys who I didn't think about, but
Okay.
I would like to include, and then I'll give you the guys who I did think about.
Go for it.
There's a guy called Bruce Smith. He was a defensive end for the Buffalo Bills in Washington.
Oh yes.
Okay.
He played in 280 games and he amassed 200 sacks. Never
Yes,
won a
very
Super
good
Bowl.
player. Very good player.
Hey,
Did he
if
play?
you're
Did
talking
he play
about-
for those Bills during the Super Bowl when they made
Yeah.
it to the Super Bowl? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
he played in
absolutely,
4 consecutive Super Bowls and never
Right.
won.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Jim Kelly, the same on the Bills.
Jim
Yeah.
Kelly,
Eric
quarterback.
Dickerson of the Rams.
See what the thing that I don't really like about Jim Kelly being on that list. Obviously, everyone knows Jim Kelly was an amazing quarterback, and they took the Bills to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row. They just didn't win it. So I don't really consider him to be like on a wasted career because they just didn't get it done. I mean, getting there 4 times, you would think that they'd at least win 1 out of 4. But you know, the odds
Bad
are
luck.
it's just bad luck is what is right. But I really wouldn't put Jim Kelly on that list. That's just me though. But go on.
I mean, I
Would
guess
any of you put Brian Urlacher on that list? Just out of curiosity.
Brian Urlacher, I mean, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that one, only because I've seen, I mean, as a Bears fan, Brian Urlacher was exciting. He was a great draft pick for them, and he did a lot for the team. But he did go to the Super Bowl with them one year. A
a
wasted
couple of those
career.
guys you named also went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Like Dan
Wasted-
Marino went his second year and never made it back.
right, exactly. But that's my point. Like somebody like I'd put somebody like Dan Marino on this list over Joe Kelly, or is it Joe Kelly? Is that his name? No.
John-
Jim Kelly?
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly. I'm sorry. I'd put Dan Marino over him because Marino only went to 1 Super Bowl and he never went back after getting there 1 time. But I mean, Urlacher, I think he could be on that list if maybe this was like a top 20 list. So, but not a top 10 list.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm gonna go about like recent history. Not a lot of people really care for linemen, but there's a guy in that played for the Browns. I believe his name was Joe Thomas. I believe he played every snap. I believe he played every snap
Fantastic,
on
yeah.
offense in his career, and
Mhm.
He
he's
was
like
pretty good
inner
at that, yeah.
circle offensive lineman. And the only 2 I can really think about that wasted their careers and never had a chance to win are Antonio Gates and LaDainian Tomlinson.
Oh yeah.
San Diego. There you go. Maybe we
Those
can have
guys were
Phillip
like
Rivers.
Super Bowl MVP, not Super Bowl MVPs, but the LaDainian was an
MVPs.
MVP.
MVP.
And
yeah,
Antonio
agreed.
Gates, as far as a tight end, is probably one of the top 3,
Mhm.
top 5 best tight ends to ever suit up in the NFL. And
Yeah.
you know,
Did
they
it
were
was-
14-2 one year and got bounced in the first round, and that was disappointing.
Yeah.
Did
I
any
could
of
agree.
you see Phillip
agree with that.
Rivers as like a reliable quarterback though?
I don't
I
think
think-
Phillip Rivers is going to single-handedly win you a Super Bowl, but I don't think he's
Mhm.
going to cost you one either.
I agree with
It would
that
be the same
statement.
like saying Romo.
I mean, I think it's the same with like, I think
Tony Romo.
Flacco is like lower mid-tier.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Matt
Yeah.
Ryan is mid-tier. He can win you a Super Bowl, but he's not going to be a Brady-like reason, and he's not going to cost you a Super Bowl like
Mhm.
deficiency at quarterback. There's a bunch of mid-range guys out there.
I think that if Rivers makes the Hall of Fame, it's going to be based on how long he played. Because, I mean, his
Oh,
numbers.
he's there for sure.
His numbers are there. You know, he never won anything, but there's a dozen, you know, quarterbacks out there that have never won anything and still are in the Hall of Fame. So I don't see him not making the Hall of Fame, but his numbers aren't like eye popping to me, but that's because, like you said, he's like a mid-tier quarterback. I mean, he did rely on his running back a lot throughout his careers too. Like Melvin Gordon was there and Austin Eckler was there. And I mean, this past year he relied on, you know, Hines, and he relied on Jonathan Taylor a lot. So he used to dump the ball off a lot. His game was, to me, I didn't really enjoy watching Rivers like that much, only because I just felt like it was just boring, like, to watch him, because he would just dump the ball off to a running back, a slant to Keenan Allen, he wouldn't really take a lot of shots down the field. And as like a person that watches the game, that's kind of what I really like to see a quarterback do, is take dozen shots down the field, hit those like wide open receivers for touchdowns and whatnot. And that just wasn't Phillip Rivers' game, but he had game though. I
It was
mean,
his
and
coaches.
he played a long career too. I mean, that's probably another reason why he was able to play so long.
I mean, his coaches didn't want that.
Mhm.
If you remember Marty Schottenheimer, he just recently passed away.
Yes.
I think like less than a week ago. Marty Schottenheimer was his head coach in those earlier years. And they referred to his game of football as Marty Ball, which was a very imposing defense and smash mouth running game. If you look at Philip Rivers' game, it's the exact same as like early Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger was never a great quarterback. I mean, I don't think he is a great quarterback right now. I think he just won Super Bowls. If you look
And
at
he
some of Ben
also,
Roethlisberger's numbers,
yeah,
he was like a check down. He was a third down quarterback. You know, hey, the first two runs didn't net us a first down, and we're outside of the running game to get a first down. So now we're going to pass the football. The Steelers won Super Bowls running the football 60% or more of the time.
I feel like
I think
you
I
have,
think
you
really
have to
they're the
have some
same
kind of,
quarterback. Just success is the only difference.
okay, that's pretty good analogy right there. I think that you have to be able to run the ball though to win games. I mean, look at the Bucks this year. They were able to run the ball against Kansas City in the Super Bowl, which definitely helped Brady out a lot and helped them move the offense more too. So you can't really. And last year the Chiefs won the game because Damian Williams dominated it. So you have to have some kind of running game to actually win or to actually be some sort of contender. But the difference between that now and then back then was that running backs back then, like maybe, 15, 20 years ago, were like the sole like feature purpose of the team that made them win games and actually win championships. Like you guys, you got guys back then like Emmett Smith and like all those running backs that really like helped their teams win the Super Bowl. And then right now we're kind of living in like a quarterback era where you got the Tom Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers, and then you got the Mahomes. Like every team that has won a Super Bowl, like as of recently, has had some kind of a good quarterback on the team.
Do you guys remember how many Super Bowls Randy Moss went to? Thought he just went to the one with the Patriots and they lost that one in 07.
Yes.
I think it was only one, because he was on Minnesota for
Unfortunate.
most of his career that didn't really do anything there. So
Yeah, that was unfortunate there.
And he was with the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
So I
the
guess
Raiders.
technically he could be on that list as well then. I mean, he was a dominant receiver in his time.
Yeah,
So
he was.
I think Randy's like top. Well,
the problem with Randy
game
Moss is
changed,
that
but I think he's top 5.
he is,
Easy.
because
Easy.
the problem with Randy Moss is that he doesn't hold really any records because they were all broken by guys like Jerry Rice and like, all these other guys that are coming out now, like Michael Thomas and Justin Jefferson broke like Randy Moss's rookie record, and all these records are getting broken as of late. So he's not really leading a whole lot. So people are tending to forget about what he actually did do. Another cool thing is that his son was actually playing tight end for LSU recently. I think he actually won the national championship with them too. So hopefully we'll see him in the next few years in the NFL. Is there any particular guy on my list that you guys agree with that should be on that list?
I would say Barry Sanders for sure, because he was definitely a workhorse.
Yeah, well, Barry also retired early. He should have won one in his regular playing career, but
He did.
he retired at what, 29, going on 30? Same as Calvin Johnson.
I mean, have we forgotten that Terrell Davis only played in the NFL for 6 seasons?
No. But
I mean, he had a short career as well.
Barry Sanders did retire early, 10 seasons, like you said, but he made 10 straight Pro Bowls. And if you look at his numbers, they're mind-boggling. Like I think he rushed for 2,000 yards one year, and I'm pretty sure like maybe I want to say 3 or 4 years out of those 10 years, he rushed for maybe like 1,500 yards or more. So he was a dominant force. Just that the thing with that is like when you give a running back so much work like that, you just like you burn them out. I mean, look what happened with Todd Gurley. The dude has been through like multiple knee surgeries and everything throughout the last couple of years. And like 2 years ago in 3 years ago in 2017, he was a dominant force on the Rams, and they just pretty much overused him and overworked him. And he might even be like retiring, pretty soon as well because of that reason. So that's why it does amaze me. It truly amazes me when you have guys like Derrick Henry in the league and stuff, that guys just go out there and they're playing all 16 games and they're knocking dudes down left and right. And it just feels like he's never going to like disintegrate or deteriorate over time. But who knows, NFL is weird and guys come and go all the time. So that's just how it is. But what about Andre Johnson? Do you guys agree with that one on the list?
Andre? Yeah, he never had a quarterback.
Yeah, his numbers were mind-popping.
Didn't he have
too.
like Brock Osweiler?
Yeah, he had Osweiler. He had Matt Schaub for a long time. So
It was unfortunate that they got a Hall of Fame wide receiver on a expansion team.
Mhm.
How about their worst number one pick in franchise history, David Carr, brother of Derek Carr?
Yeah, that could have been.
Yeah, I forgot about that guy.
Worst. Yeah, not a good pick for them. Definitely not. But yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, imagine like, Andre Johnson in his prime playing with Watson, but then again, they would just probably trade him to the Cardinals like they did for Hopkins. So it doesn't really matter.
And that's what ultimately cost Bill O'Brien his job.
I have no idea what that guy was thinking. Like nobody does, but it's a good thing I don't really think
head coach a GM role as well. It doesn't work that way. Let the coach just coach.
I really don't think that they're gonna be able to keep Watson there. I think he really truly wants out, and I don't really think that there's gonna be anything that they can tell him that will make him stay. I think it's just a matter of time before they find a landing spot for him. The problem is that they're just gonna want too much for him, because look at what Matt Stafford got. What they got for Matt Stafford: 2 first rounds, second round. Imagine what they're gonna want for
They
Watson.
overpaid.
I think they did as well. They could have. I don't know.
But it was the salary cap,
Yes.
look at Golf's cap issues. The Rams didn't take any money back on that deal, I don't believe, but they had to give up draft capital in order to make it happen.
Yeah, I don't believe that McVay really wanted Goff anyways. He wasn't there when they drafted Goff, and I just don't believe that he thought that Goff was the guy for him. So ultimately, that's more than likely why they went to go get Stafford. But they really did, they gave a lot for him, and I'm pretty sure that's why the Lions did it right away. But it kind of reminded me of what the Bears did with Foles last year, how they kind of offered a lot more than probably any other team would offer for him too. And they just were able to get him. But there's still so many different quarterbacks that are out there and that can get traded. And there's also free agents out there. And there's also a pretty decent draft class too. So there's going to be a ton of guys on the move this season to different teams. There's really only maybe 10 teams out there that have their starting quarterback, for week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Including your guy, Joe, Dak Prescott, which is going to be a Chicago Bear pretty soon.
Oh, you better not say that.
Man can dream. Man can dream. That's all I got to say. Man, if they get Dak and they sign Allen Robinson, it's over. That probably concludes that section, unless there's anything else you guys wanted to add to that, if you have another player in mind.
Tony Romo?
No,
I mean,
no Romo.
If you truly
No
believe
Romo.
that he should be on a list like that, then go for it. But you got to prove your point.
He deserved more credit than the shit he did receive. That's how I see it.
I mean,
he was better than what
I think he was a Jeff Garcia-like quarterback.
Okay, that's a good analogy. I did like Tony Romo though. He used to sling it, and he was a tough guy. He reminds me a lot of Matt Stafford. I'm not gonna lie. And he's a pretty good announcer too, though. So he's doing a good job as that as well. A play-by-play guy. I don't mind watching him
Yeah.
in the play box. All right, cool. So that concludes that section. The last thing that we were gonna do today, guys, is this new game that I came up with. It's called Who Am I? And basically, it's I have a list of 10 different guys, and each guy has about 4 different facts about them. So based on the 4 facts for that person, you have to guess who that person is. And the way that we're gonna do this is each one is gonna be worth 3 points. Okay. Whoever does end up winning this section will get the first piece of that merchandise. So how does that sound?
Sweetness.
Okay, so each one's gonna be worth 3 points, like I said. So I'll keep the score, and you can just shout it out if you know the answer. So you don't have to I don't have to call on you or anything like that. You'll just shout it out. So I'm gonna share my screen with you guys,
Okay.
and that way we can get started with this. Okay, so the first one. I attended Michigan University where I held a 20-5 record as a
Oh, my
starter. I
God.
was a 6th-round pick. I'm a father of 3. I'm the oldest to rush for a QB for a touchdown in
Brady.
the NFL playoff game.
Great Tom.
It's
I'm-
Brady.
We know that it's Brady.
It's,
Yeah.
come on. 6-0
Okay,
pick
so-
Michigan,
How
Brady.
can you make that so obvious?
So that was
Six
that
round
was
pick,
Jo-
Brady.
that was
Michigan.
Joseph Webb. That was Webb that actually went in on that first, and that is Tom Brady.
I mean, I don't know.
It's
I feel
yeah.
like I just yelled it first. I think we both did it at the exact same time.
Yeah,
I
we
heard-
did. We did.
I heard
It's
Joe
okay.
Webb first. I heard
It's
somebody in Joe
It's
S.
fine, I
I
don't
heard
mind.
somebody.
I don't mind.
I heard somebody in the background by you, so I didn't hear you actually say it until after Joe Webb said it.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine then. Okay.
Okay, so
Moving on.
moving on to the next question, guys. All right, the next one. I was born in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm the only player to ever appear in a Super Bowl and a World Series game. I'm a 2-time Super Bowl winner. In my career, I achieved the record for the most return touchdowns in the NFL.
Deion Sanders.
Is that
That
Deion
is
Sanders?
correct. That is
Yes.
correct.
He doesn't currently hold the record though. I thought who wasn't
He does hold the
Devin
record.
Hester broke that record
No,
for the most returns?
Nope, he doesn't. I think he tied him. Is what happened. So these are actually defensive touchdowns as well. These are the most returns. So these are defensive.
Oh.
These are punt returns, kick returns, and receiving. So that's why he's the leader. Yeah. I should have been more specific, but yeah. I guess what I thought would give this away would be the Super Bowl and World Series game because he played for the Braves
Yeah,
in the World
absolutely.
Series. So
I
Right.
don't know.
Right.
I'm kind of weird. I was good Bo Jackson. Bo
No.
knows best.
okay, cool. So 3-3. It's 3-3 right now. It's a good game. All right, next one. From Florida, Texas to Georgia, I'm a former #1 overall pick. I'm a father of 4. In the last 10 seasons, I have appeared in 152 out of 160 games, just missing 8 games in that stretch. I hold the record for the most passing yards by a quarterback with
That Drew Brees?
43,901 through my first 160
That's-
career starts.
It's not Breeze. Breeze sucked at the beginning of his career.
All right, so I'll final answers coming up. So whoever you think it is, let me know. Joe Webb, who do you think it is?
From Florida to Texas to Georgia. 160 career starts. That's 10 seasons. God, I don't even know who to think of. Let's go
You
with
guys-
Matt Ryan.
I stumped the crowd. Okay. Okay, Matt Ryan's your final answer. All right, Joe S., do you have a guess?
No,
No guess at all? Just take a stab at it.
no.
Take a stab at
Peyton
it.
Manning, I don't know. Peyton Manning, I don't think it is. Yeah,
Paid man.
Okay, it is Matthew Stafford.
it would be. Yeah, Florida Tech. Yeah, I get that. I get that.
He
I get
played for Georgia.
remember.
He was born in Florida. He moved to Texas and he played for Georgia.
There you go.
He-
That's what
I
I'm
didn't
trying
even
to
remember where he got drafted from. It's been that long.
Yeah.
He was a Georgia
And
Bulldog. That's right.
those are the
Georgia
stats for him
Bulldog.
too, though. That, like I said, these stats are mind popping for somebody like that. 152 and 160 game in the last 160 games, only missed 8 games in 10 years. That is
Yeah.
pretty awesome. I mean, that's the idea of like what you want in the NFL. Like you want your quarterback to be in there all the time and to play. So we'll see what he does in LA. It's gonna be pretty cool to watch him on a different team.
Well, I mean, him on Sean McVay's team with the thought that he actually can win with an actual defense.
With a
And
defense, yes.
here he goes. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be offensive players saying, "Hey, let's go to that new stadium in California with the weather. Let's see how it goes."
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe
It's gonna
it
be
all
cool.
depends on who wants to go and play with them.
That is true. But yeah, he does have a great defense. You could even say elite, maybe. They're kind of in their prime right now on who they got there with Jalen Ramsey and all the other pieces that are there. And they were saying, like, Matthew Stafford really, he's the type of guy that with that defense, you can rely on that defense for the game. And maybe they can even win you a lot of games. But when you really need that quarterback or that guy to step up and actually win you the game, Stafford's the guy. Goff was never that guy. He can never really put the ball in his hands and win the game for you. But Stafford definitely can do that. And he showed that with the Lions over time. So he's always been playing from behind, though, which is probably why his numbers are up there. But, he's going to be good, though. I think he's going to be good. Moving on to the next guy. Okay. It's still 3-3, guys. Moving on. So we have, I am known for my creative defensive scheme called the Tampa 2. I'm only one of 4 people that has won a Super Bowl as a player and a head coach. I'm a play-by-play analyst for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and I'm the first
Tony Dungy.
I can't remember.
Tony Dungy.
I could not remember his name. Yeah.
That is Tony Dungy. Correct, Joe S. So that is 6 points now for Joe, and he's in the lead 6-3.
Yeah, I could not remember his name. The moment you said Tampa 2, I'm like, oh yeah, that's our guy, but I cannot remember his name.
Yeah, it's hard to when you're on the spot to like actually get the name right, but yep, that is Tony Dungy. And that it saddens me to actually talk about this, but that win was against the Bears. So
Oh, boo-hoo.
that sucks to think about that. But
Well. Go ahead.
he's a great
Moving
coach,
on.
though. Great coach, and
Yeah.
he retired. He kind of retired too young to be not coaching anymore either. But, moving on, like you said. Okay, so it's 6-3 right now. Joe S is in the lead. All right.
Okay.
Born in Chicago, I moved to Georgia when I was 4 years old. From the start of '97 through the wild card in January 2002, I won 12 consecutive playoff games, which is an NFL record since the 1970 merger. I played in 204 regular season games and had 11 seasons with 50-plus catches, which was considered unprecedented in the NFL at that time. I am the number 4 overall on the list for the most receiving yards.
Tony Gonzalez? Tony
Is it?
Gonzalez?
It is Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp. No.
He was a monster to say the least. He won a couple
Yes.
Super Bowls with the Broncos. I think they repeated in the late '90s.
They did.
So, Tony Gonzalez is actually number 1 on that list, though, for the most receiving yards as a tight end.
Yeah, I thought he might have been surpassed by a couple tight ends in a offensive-driven league today.
Mhm. But yeah, this was basically, like I said, in that time, I said it was unprecedented to have a tight end to really do the things that Shannon Sharp was doing. All right, moving on to the next one. I was the 11th overall pick in 2006 NFL draft. In 2008, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I have more career
Cutler.
passes.
Jay Cutler.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Joseph Webb? Any guesses?
I'm pretty sure he nailed it because Jay Cutler is like the best quarterback Chicago has ever had. He does have type 1 diabetes. When they tried to throw him in the pool in the Pro Bowl, they threw him in a pool not knowing that he had his insulin pump like on him, and
Oh, my
they had
goodness.
to emergency fly out a replacement. So
is
yeah,
terrible.
it would be Jay Cutler from Denver.
Okay, yeah. So the other points I wanted to just say was, this is just for the podcast to have it out there. So I have more career passing yards than some of the greats such as Troy Aikman, Kurt Warner, and Steve Young, believe it or not. And I am the only Chicago quarterback to throw for 300 plus yards in 16 straight games. And that is Jay Cutler. So Joe S takes the lead now. He is now up to 9 points. It's 9-3, and we are moving on to the next one. I was a high school wrestling star, straight out of the University of Miami. I now own a seat in Canton, Ohio. I'm a 2-time Super Bowl winner and Defensive Player of the Year, and a 13-time Pro Bowl selection.
Oh, you are right on that one. Yeah.
I had a long, prosperous NFL career where I played for the same team for 17 straight seasons.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Joe Webb, what's your guess?
My guess was Warren Sapp.
Okay, Joe S., do you have a guess?
I believe it is Warren Sapp as well.
So you believe it's Warren Sapp as well? Okay.
Yes.
You guys are incorrect. It is Ray Lewis.
Oh, right.
So the only reason why I thought maybe I was wrong is when I was looking at number 3, how it says 2-time. You see how it says 2-time Super Bowl winner / Defensive Player of the Year? I thought it could be 1 and 1. Like, okay. I knew Warren Sapp only won 1 Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, but I thought maybe he won a Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, the reason why I worded it like that is because I had the and where it says like and 13 Pro Bowl, but when I read it, I did say I am a 2-time Super Bowl winner and Defensive Player of the Year. I read it like that, but it just doesn't, I didn't word it like that. So,
yeah,
good to
know. I don't believe Ray Lewis played in the NFL for 17 seasons. The Ravens weren't a team until 1998.
He did play for 17
played a long
seasons.
Time. I mean,
I don't know if it was
same team. The Ravens became a team in 98, and he finished his career in 2012. I know that because he won a Super Bowl that year, the same year he retired. So I don't think the 17 years is accurate, but okay.
Oh crap, Joe!
That's what it said, that he played 17 years. So
it wasn't all with the same team then. I mean,
Ray Lewis never left Baltimore.
But I mean, he didn't. I know, but he didn't play 17 years with them. If they formed in 1998.
He did play 17 years, 1996 to 2012. That's 17 years.
The Baltimore Ravens became a franchise in 96.
96.
98.
96.
Okay.
Get your facts straight, okay, Joseph, before you question me, okay?
All right.
No, sorry, Joe's the Schwab.
Yeah, right.
Thanks.
Joe Sinople's the Schwab.
Yes,
exactly. I really tried my hardest to make sure that these facts were straight, like really correct before I put it out there, because that would have been embarrassing if I'm putting stuff out there that's not true or factual. But anyways, all right. So no one got the point. No one got the point for that one. We're moving on to the next one. All right. Here we go. In 2005-2006 broadcasting year, I competed in the hit reality show called Dancing with the Stars. I am a 3-time Super Bowl. winner and 13-time Pro Bowl selection. Okay, I heard Jerry Rice from Joe Webb. Joe S. What was your
Emmett
guess?
Smith.
Touchdown
Okay.
receptions.
Ah, you
And
screwed.
yards.
Yeah, I messed up. I didn't read
Emmett
it. You know
Smith's a running back.
No, it's okay.
Hey, I didn't,
You
I
said
didn't
Emmett
read it. It's
Smith.
okay, go ahead.
You want to
Yeah.
give another guess? Because I still
No,
didn't finish.
no, give it to him. Give it to him. He's right. He's right. He's right. I know he's right.
Okay. I am
give
an
him-
all-time NFL leader in receptions, touchdown receptions, and yards. 3-time Super Bowl winner,
There you
13-time
go.
Pro
There
Bowl.
you go.
And on November 4th, 2010, I was chosen by NFL Network's NFL Films production to top 100 NFL's greatest players as the greatest player in NFL history.
Yeah, that's him.
Jerry
That's Jerry
Rice.
Rice. Yes, yes.
You are correct. It is Jerry Rice.
Damn me for not reading.
It's
All right.
okay. Don't worry about it. No problem. So yeah, that was Jerry Rice. So you are now down by 3. So it is 9-6. Joe S is on the top still, 9-6. Moving on, next question.
Okay.
Right. I currently hold a seat in Canton, Ohio. I am currently the leader for all-time wins in the NFL as a head coach. I am the only head coach in NFL history to post a perfect season by going undefeated throughout the regular season and playoffs. My players
Don
probably were
Shula.
Don Shula, huh? Final answer?
Yes. Yes.
Joe Webb, any guesses?
The only head coach in NFL history to post a perfect season and regular season and playoffs would be Shula. I mean, I think they did that in '72
Yes, they did.
when it was a 14-game regular season.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that is correct. It is Don Shula. All right.
Oh.
That concludes it. That was 10 different questions.
Hey Joe, you're gonna get some free merch.
So we did have a winner, and that was Joe S with 12 points. Joe Webb got 6 points
Yay.
there. So
Okay.
you will definitely be in line to get that first. I think it's going to be like a shirt. So you'll be first in line to get one of
Okay.
those. You know, in all honesty, my appreciation for both of you guys being on this show and doing this, you might just both get one, to be honest. And Joe S might just get something a little more added to that too. But
Like a coffee mug.
I don't know if we're gonna, maybe in the future, but for now, a coffee mug is not gonna be on there yet. But
Right. Okay.
it's gonna be basic stuff for now. Shirts and
Yeah.
stickers, maybe I would say, is like the first couple things that are coming out. But good stuff to come, and more shows and more content coming out there, and I'm liking this.
All right.
It's pretty cool. It's interesting to do something like this. So I really appreciate
Okay.
both of you guys for being on, though. Thanks for all your time.
All right. Signing
And,
out.
see you later, man. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Yep.
See ya, Charles.
All right, Joe. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for coming on again, man. Appreciate it. And anytime you want to join me in the future, just reach out to me, or I'll reach out to you, and I would love to do it again. So
Yeah, do you just cover football?
thank you all for joining me. This has been the SSFFL podcast. Again, I am your host, Chuck, and I really enjoyed our time together today, talking with Joe S and Joe W. We had an awesome time with that game. Thanks for joining me again, guys, and have a wonderful afternoon and night.